Hello everyone, I hope you all are doing great. Today we are going to discuss one important topic, that is interrelationship between education and philosophy. Now many students consider philosophy to be a difficult and abstract subject. The moment they hear the word philosophy, they imagine something very complicated, something that belongs only to great thinkers like Plato or Aristotle. But let me tell you something very interesting. Whether you realize it or not, that every single person has a philosophy of life. Suppose I ask you a simple question. What is the purpose of education? Some of you may say to get a job, other may answer to become a good human being, someone else might say to contribute to society. Now think carefully, why are all your answers different? Because your philosophy of life is different. The way you look at life, success, happiness, morality, knowledge, and even education depend upon your philosophy. And that is exactly why understanding philosophy is so important before understanding education. In fact, whenever we discuss education, we are actually discussing philosophy in action. Philosophy tell us what education should achieve, while education tell us how those philosophical ideas can be translated into reality. This is why the uh, title of this topic is not simply philosophy or education, it is the interrelationship between education and philosophy, because these two are inseparable. Now let's begin with the most basic question, what exactly is philosophy? The word philosophy has its roots in Greek language. It is formed from two words, philos and sophia. Philos means love and sophia means wisdom. Therefore, philosophy literally means love of wisdom. But notice something very carefully. It does not mean the love of information. It does not mean collecting facts or memorizing books. Wisdom is much deeper than information. Information tells us what something is. Wisdom tells us how and why it should be used. Think of today's world. We have unlimited information available on internet. Artificial intelligence can answer thousands of questions within a second. Yet, despite having so much information, people often struggle to make the right decision in life. Why? Because information without wisdom is incomplete. Philosophy is that search for wisdom which helps a person understand reality and make meaningful decisions. This is why philosophy has remained relevant for thousands of years. One of the great philosophers, Plato, beautifully described philosophy as the love of knowledge that makes a person wise. According to Plato, a philosopher is not someone who believes he knows everything. On the contrary, a philosopher is someone whose curiosity never ends. Such a person constantly asks questions, continuously seeks knowledge, and is never completely satisfied with what he already knew. If you think about it, this is the quality of every successful researcher. The day a researcher believes that there is nothing left to learn, his journey ends. Therefore, according to Plato, true philosophy began with the curiosity. Another thinker who looked at philosophy from a completely different perspective was Karl Marx. Marx said that philosophy is the interpretation of the world in order to change it. This statement is extremely important. According to Marx, philosophy should not remain confined to books or classrooms. Its ultimate purpose is to transform society. Knowledge become meaningful only when it improves human life. So while Plato emphasized the pursuit of knowledge, Marx emphasized the application of the knowledge for social change. Now let's move to another famous educational philosopher, J.S. Ross, whose statement is one of the most favorite for competitive examinations. Ross said, philosophy and education are like the two sides of the same coin. The one is implied by the other, and the former is the contemplative side of the life, while the latter is the active side. This is not just a quotation to memorize. Let's understand its deeper meaning. Imagine an architect designing a beautiful building. Before the construction begins, there is first a blueprint, which is a detailed plan that explains what the building should look like. That blueprint is philosophy. The actual construction of the building is education. Without a blueprint, that building has no direction. Without construction, the blueprint remains only an idea. Similarly, philosophy provides the vision while education transforms that vision into reality. This relationship becomes even clear when you look at the ideas of Dr. Sarvapalli Radhakrishnan. He described philosophy as a view of life. According to him, philosophy gives direction to life and offers a design for living. Think about this carefully. Every decision we make, our career, our values, our relationship, even the way we teach students, is influenced by our philosophy of life. A teacher who believes education is only about examination will teach differently from a teacher who believes education is about character development. Their teaching methods, classroom environment, and expectation from the students will naturally be different because their philosophy is different. Similarly, Herbert Spencer regarded philosophy as a universal science because it is connected with every field of knowledge, whether we study science, literature, economics, education, or any discipline. Every discipline ultimately raises philosophical questions. What is truth? What is reality? What is knowledge? What is right and wrong? These questions cannot be answered by one subject alone. They require philosophical thinking. Now, if we carefully analyze all these definitions, we can identify some common ideas. First, philosophy develops through experience. Every individual faces different situations in life, and therefore every individual develops a unique philosophy. Second, philosophy is a continuous search for knowledge. It does not encourage blind acceptance, rather, it encourages questioning, reasoning, and reflection. Third, scientific inquiry forms an important basis of philosophical thinking. Science helps us observe reality, while philosophy helps us interpret that reality. Finally, every human being, through the experience of birth, growth, success, failure, and even suffering, gradually develops a philosophy of life. In this sense, every thoughtful being becomes a philosopher. This naturally brings us to another important question, that if philosophy is so far vast, can it be divided into different areas of study? Then the answer is yes. Just as education has different branches, philosophy also has its own branches, each focusing on different aspects of reality, knowledge, and values. That we will discuss in another video.